Anytime that I take my health into my hands, I feel good about that. And like I was doing that it was something that I needed to take control of and to find out about. Like any other exam, I felt like if there's something here that I need to know, then I need to know it. My name is Susan Goeckner, and I own Ivy Lane Bakery. I worked for in an animal hospital for 10 years, and the kennels were set up in cinder block sections. And when you would walk to the back to retrieve a dog or place a dog, it was extremely loud. And I feel like that might have been part of the issue. Also, with part of the issue with my hearing loss, and of course music and concerts, things like that, I think are typical. Those are the two things that stand out with the difficulties. I didn't notice it very much until I started having, until we opened the bakery, probably almost 5 years ago, that happened. And probably 3 years ago, I started noticing difficulty in conversations, and also at home. I wouldn't begin to think that I could hear someone from another room. If they weren't in front of me, I wasn't going to hear them. I'm not sure that I avoided situations, but I was sometimes awkward in the situation, and it felt like I was missing things quite a lot. At work, I felt like things were going past me. When I was talking to customers, I felt like I wasn't responding properly. They would kind of look at me funny, that I hadn't said the right thing in response to their question or in conversation. And I was noticing that more than a conversation difficulties, more than just I feel like I can't hear. I felt like it was a conversational difficulty. At home, I was just like, you guys know I can't hear unless you're in the same room. And at work, I just tried to play it off and not really pay a lot of attention to it. It got to the point where they would be like, she can't hear you. Especially when I've got large mixers going and there's background noise, there's just, I have to be like really upfront and really present with someone to hear them. I think just having the bakery and the communication difficulties was just put a spotlight on it, because I have to deal with customers all the time, and I can't take an order if I can't hear what they're wanting out of the case, or phone calls, everything. It's just too important to not be able to hear what I can do to help a customer. I'm not sure. I don't remember the actual moment that made me think I needed to pursue it. What I did know was that I had parents and aunts and uncles, and I will say in-laws, who ignore the situation, and they miss things and we're yelling at them, and they have no idea that that's the case. And I didn't want to be that person. I didn't want to be the person that was missing things, and I didn't want to be the person that everybody felt like they had to yell their conversations at. And so I think that was what really made me want to pursue and make sure that it wasn't worse than I thought it was at first. Anytime that I take my health into my hands, I feel good about that. And like I was doing that it was something that I needed to take control of and to find out about. Like any other exam, I felt like if there's something here that I need to know, then I need to know it. And if there's not, great. So I felt like probably they're going to find something because of the issues that I had, but maybe not. And maybe I can just put this aside for now. The thing I remember most about my first experience there was that I couldn't hear very well. I couldn't hear when Dr. McKee was giving me the test, and her kindness. And the very first time that I went, she said, you've got some hearing loss. We can either address it now or wait a little bit and see if it gets worse. And so 2 years later, I was back. I went back because it felt like it was getting worse, and she would call and touch base with me periodically and say, it's been a year or two. How would you feel about coming back in for a recheck? And so I took that the same way that I take every other issue and getting older, and thought, why not? It does feel like it's getting worse. I probably should check into this again. Before that, I learned that there is a direct link between hearing loss and Alzheimer's. And my mother is in a nursing home with Alzheimer's and has been for 7 years. And of course, we're seeing a steady decline in her health. And like I said, so many people around me had put their hearing loss off and didn't address it. And she was one of them. And she's in the position that she is now. When I found out there was a link between hearing loss and Alzheimer's, everything else went out the window. My vanity and any other obstacle, this became precedence, was to keep my brain active and to keep my brain hearing. And so to have those audio triggers is very important. And that was the catalyst of everything, and making me just, okay, it's time, and I'm not putting it off anymore. So when I went in the first time, I still had a little apprehension of having them because of vanity reasons and looking older and feeling older, and but it was. It really, all of that went aside too when I put them in. And Dr. McKee said the first thing you're going to hear is the air conditioning. And she was right. And it was really cool that we were able to hook it up to my phone, that I can listen to my podcast or my music. If there is a loud sound in the room, it will turn up for me automatically. So if I'm got two huge mixers and two small mixers going at the same time, I can still hear my podcast or something like that, or what's around me. And that I didn't know yet, but that was going to prove to be very special. Dr. McKee and I walked out into the lobby, and I could hear other people's conversations. And not that I want that at all. It was just like, wow. Like, I can not only hear Dr. McKee talking to me, I can hear everybody. I can hear everything. And it was eye-opening as to what I was missing before. It was eye-opening. And then I got home and I didn't say a word to my family. I thought, I'm just going to see what happens and if they notice. And it took a week for my daughter to notice that I actually had them in. Like, not that she didn't notice I was hearing, but that she didn't physically see them. And I usually have my hair back because I am baking, and she still hadn't seen them. And she's usually pretty observant. So it helped with the vein part of it to not feel like it's zeroed in on immediately. And I don't care anymore. There's just too much benefit to having them, and I miss them when I don't have them, forget to charge them or something. I do not like not having them with me, on me, functioning, because there's just so much benefit. One of the first things that I thought was funny that I could hear was my cats drinking water, and not something, there again that I would have missed, or, it just was like, what, oh, okay, to that detail, I think is interesting. And I can hear people in other rooms, and it feels normal. It feels like these are possibly things that I've missed for such a long time. I had no idea that they were there, and to not have to turn the TV way up, and to just be able to communicate better is a blessing. to have the capability to receive phone calls through them and to be able to hear people the way I needed to hear them. Is people will call on the Ivy Lane Bakery phone, and I will call them back on my phone often so that I can hear better and I know that I'm getting everything. That has turned out to be a huge bonus. In retrospect, I don't feel like I needed to have acted sooner. I feel like it happened at the time in my life that I was ready for it, and that sooner would have been pushing it emotionally for me. And I hate to harp on that, but it was at 53 years old, it felt like I was old, and I didn't want to feel that way. So I think everything had to come together for it. And to find out about the Alzheimer's connection, and to feel like I was missing out on things, and just the whole gamut. It just all came together when it should have. I think to not be afraid of it and to embrace the defect and fix it, and kind of get over yourself and be, I feel like, more whole. I feel like this is one thing that I can control, and I did. So many things are out of our control, and often even with our health, and this is just something that you can do, and that it's not a bad thing. And I just wholeheartedly am grateful that I did. Just absolutely. It has changed my life for the better. And Alzheimer's aside, I'm glad. I mean, that obviously was what pushed me, but I'm glad that I can hear what's going on. My daughter is an actress and a singer, and I would go to performances and miss half of it. And now I know what's going on there too, and can hear performances in total, and not guess at plot and things like that. So it all is just amazing.